I'm an arms dealer. Everything they gave me, I used. Everything I used, they gave me first. Every spring the trucks came, and something shifted inside me that I still cannot properly name or explain. My father came home black every night. I watched that and made a promise I have never once broken. Someone threw away a magazine full of soldiers. I pulled it out and read it until the pages fell apart. 3 officers and a stamp. The state doesn't need your agreement. It only needs your signature and body. The first time I wore it, I stood in front of that cracked mirror longer than I would ever admit. I never dropped out of a single run, not once. When others stopped, I kept moving. That never left. Every round found the target. I felt nothing dramatic. My hands were simply built for exactly this work. 8 hours, alone in the rain, with nobody watching. That night, I finally learned what I was made of. The handshake lasted 2 seconds. The promotion meant nothing by next morning, but in that moment, I believed it. He showed me the ledger like it was routine. Numbers in, numbers out. That gap changed everything for me. I heard my name through the door, heard the number beside it, stood in the dark corridor and breathed. He slid the paper across without a word. 5 years settled in 40 seconds. That was the whole transaction. The gate closed, and the sound of that lock is something I will carry with me my whole life. They shook their heads at my record. Nobody tells you survival skills have absolutely no civilian market price. I lay counting ceiling cracks instead of the bills on the floor. Some numbers I simply refused to face. Vasil's voice at midnight sounded like a door opening in a room I had been locked out of for months. The envelope sat between us, and I let it sit. 2 minutes of silence is very long with strangers. I opened the crate and looked inside. The word agricultural was still printed on the lid above my hands. My hands moved before my mind gave any instruction. 5 years of maintenance, and they remembered everything. Exactly. 7 minutes. No names used. 1 clean exchange. I walked away knowing something in me had permanently shifted. I sat in that cafe surrounded by ordinary lives and felt further from all of them than ever before. Old connections carry old weight. 1 call, 1 location, 1 favor owed. That is how every network begins. 40 kilometers without headlights and not 1 word spoken. The forest held everything I needed it to hold. I watched them open the crates from the clearing edge. I was calm. That calmness told me something true. Documents spread across the hotel desk. I worked slowly through each page. Details are where lives get lost. 3 seconds of silence at the booth. I have lived through those 3 seconds more times than I can count. Cash on a hotel bed at midnight. No celebration. Just the next problem waiting quietly to be solved by me. Every new contact was a new exposure. I understood this fully and kept building the chain anyway, without stopping. They found the inventory gap on the news. I watched the reporter speak. Then I turned the television off. New apartment. Same suitcase, different city. The blinds close the same way everywhere. That has always been a comfort. Something in the questions told me everything I needed. Wrong order, wrong focus. I left before question 3. I used the window reflection without deciding to. The Army puts things in your body your mind never forgets. A buyer from inside. I sat with that information the whole walk home. Either direction led somewhere very dark. 7 days in the parked car watching his building. The Army called it reconnaissance. I called it survival. 90 seconds was all I allowed myself on that dock. Then I drove east without once looking back at all. 5 agents counted through the glass. Nothing but a cold, clear understanding of exactly how close it had been. I broke the phone on the concrete and felt something release. Not relief, more like closing a necessary door. Same face looking back from a different name. I closed the passport and put it away without any feeling. Vasily was speaking too fast and looking over his shoulder too often. I said absolutely nothing back to him. 3 routes on the floor maps. I had been planning this moment for 2 full years without admitting it. I checked every item on that inventory twice. Careful and thorough. I had no idea it was the last one. The lights hit from every direction at once. I froze 1 second. Then my body made all the calculations. Cold asphalt against my cheek. I focused on its texture. 8 knees on me. 0 resistance. Math was over. He spoke 4 straight hours, and I gave him nothing. That silence was the most honest thing between us. 3 years of their work on the table. The gaps in the file told me more than all the evidence did. 312 tiles counted every night. It was the only structure left that I could still personally control. They read every charge slowly. I sat straight and listened. I felt the entire room watching for a reaction. Vasily pointed at me 6 full minutes. I held his eyes the entire time. He looked away first. Old habit. My lawyer spoke about betrayal, and the room listened politely. The verdict was written before he even started speaking. Death sentence. I heard the words and searched myself for any reaction. Nothing there at all. Just silence. 4 meters square. 1 strip of gray sky through a window I cannot reach. I measured it the first morning. I stood before they reached me, walked ahead of all of them. The corridor was long. My back stayed straight. Empty cell. Perfectly made bed. A letter no one will ever open. The state builds soldiers and never plans for what follows.